Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather.
Becoming fair out there through your nighttime hours. A little milder overnight, lows into the upper 60s. For your weekend, looking great. Lots of sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. Highs tomorrow into the upper 80s. Lows mid and upper 60s by Sunday morning. Lots of sun near 90 Sunday. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Sorensen 12 Chief Meteorologist Azure 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Rick is buying and selling a woman's best friend, diamonds. Stop in now and check out the wide selection from Chattanooga's premier jeweler, Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga. Before you buy, let Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds create that special gift for you. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Happy Saturday morning, Chattanooga. Nick Leffew here at the Breakfast Blitz on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. We are so close to football season. It is 35 days until the first full day of college football. 5 weeks from today. All the talking and all the guessing and everything is going to start to go away. You're going to start to see, what's real. This is the last weekend that until February of 2019, you're not going to have football. God, that's exciting. You have the Hall of Fame game next week, next Thursday night. I believe I know the Ravens are playing. I'm not even sure who they're playing. I'm excited to get to see maybe some Lamar Jackson action. Quarterback. I know he's been doing some work at wide receiver too, but I would be shocked if he didn't get a lot of time at quarterback in this first preseason game for the Ravens. It's exciting. Training camps have started across the NFL. Guys are starting to report. And then next week, Tennessee, I know at least, is starting fall camp. Jeremy Pruitt's press conference scheduled for Wednesday, August the 1st. Practice Thursday, August the 2nd. If you want an opportunity to go watch the team practice, you can go up to Neyland Stadium Saturday. I believe it's at 2:30, or Sunday, excuse me. Sunday at 2:30. They're August the 5th. They are doing an open practice, fan day after practice. You can stay and get autographs and everything of Jeremy Pruitt, the players. It's going to be a good day up in Knoxville if you want to make the ride up there. Not sure, their practice schedule. I know they can only do full pads once a week for a couple of weeks, and so you may only see them in shells or in helmets. But still, Jeremy Pruitt doesn't like to have guys tackle fully in practice anyway. It's all about thuds and using your just your technique the way that you need to do it. Exciting. Football's back, folks, and it makes our job here as sports talk radio hosts a lot easier when you're able to talk football and not just take guesses on what's going on. I kind of want to spend this first segment kind of breaking down what we're gonna go over today. There's been a lot of news in the last couple of days regarding the NFL, especially. You start to see these guys who are holding out for new contracts not coming to camp. As you get closer to that first preseason game, these guys begin to come to practice. Even if they're not getting their new contracts. Just because if you're not coming to practice, if you're going to hold out, you're not going to get paid even what you already are getting paid. And there was some news that came across the wire yesterday of a couple local teams making some contract extensions to folks. We'll start in Nashville, where Taylor Lewan, left tackle, my favorite Tennessee Titan. As a Tennessee Titans fan, Taylor Lewan is by far my favorite player, and I'll talk. I'll talk a little bit later in the show about it, break it down a little bit more. But Taylor Lewan is probably not probably is by far the first offensive lineman in my life that is my favorite player on my favorite team. I love Taylor Lewan so much. Is he going to make some bonehead plays and cost you a game here or there? Yeah, probably. 2 years ago, he pretty much cost Tennessee the game against Oakland with that penalty, that 15-yard penalty in the last drive of the ball game. That's fine. He's going to win you a lot of games, too. In my opinion, he's the best left tackle in the game. And the man got paid. 5-year, $80 million contract. 50 of that is guaranteed. $50 million guaranteed for Taylor Lewan in his new contract. That breaks down to about an annual salary of around $16 million a year. Man. That's impressive. Makes him the highest paid offensive lineman to ever play the game of football. Well deserved. Maybe not that much money, but well deserved that he's the highest paid offensive lineman to ever play. He's outstanding. He keeps your franchise player in Marcus Mariota, keeps him upright. And he's going to protect Marcus Mariota not just by blocking, but he's also going to protect Marcus Mariota by standing up for him. And that's what you want. He's a dirty player. He plays in the trenches, and I love it. He was a first-round pick in 2014, the 11th pick overall out of the University of Michigan. Great news for Taylor Lewan. Really happy for him. You might see me in the NFL season come in here in a Taylor Lewan jersey. For those of you who watch either on YouTube or Facebook, we are streaming live on both of those for the show today. It's exciting for the Titans. They also did re-up Pro Bowl, All-Pro tight end Delaney Walker for an extra 2 years. Titans window's there right now. It's obvious. The Titans window is there for them to be successful right now. Now, it's interesting because this division, which used to be the worst division in football, is now right there being probably one of the best with 3 really good football teams in Jacksonville, in Houston, as long as Deshaun Watson can come back healthy after a gruesome knee injury, and also the Tennessee Titans. It's going to be fun to watch this Mike Vrabel squad in his first year, see if they can make a return trip to the playoffs, hopefully win a division, and maybe make a run. I think offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur is going to do a wonderful job getting Marcus Mariota to that next step. something Terry Robisky could never do because Terry Robisky is not very good at his job as an offensive coordinator. We'll move on, though, because we'll get more back to the Titans in a little bit. Another local signing. The Falcons decide to re-up their left tackle, Jake Matthews, out of Texas A&M University. He was the number 6 pick in 2014. They signed him to a 5-year extension through the end of 2023. He's not far behind Taylor Lewan in his contract that he signed because he's right there with Taylor Lewan as being one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL, protecting Matt Ryan's blind side. 5 years, $75 million contract. My goodness. That breaks down to about $15 million a year. Good for Jake Matthews. Matt Ryan needs Jake Matthews. Honestly, he needs Jake Matthews probably more than Marcus Mariota needs Taylor Lewan, and I'll tell you why. Matt Ryan is not as fleet of foot as Marcus Mariota. And not as young. So I think it's very important that if you're the Falcons, you're Arthur Blank and you're Thomas Dimitroff, you have to make that a priority to re-sign your left tackle. And they did a great job. Now, the other thing in Atlanta is Julio Jones. That's interesting. Julio Jones reports to camp without a new contract after being promised a new contract and did not get a new contract last year or now, not this year. Says he's going to be a Falcon forever. This is the same guy that said he was thinking about retiring a week ago. So, I'm not really sure what his idea is there of saying he's going to be a Falcon forever. Interesting to see what they do there. They've got to pay the guy. What is Matt Ryan without Julio Jones? He's middle of the road, is what Matt Ryan is without Julio Jones. What's Mo Sanu without Julio Jones? Mediocre. So Mohamed Sanu, Matt Ryan, they need Julio Jones, and so it's huge for the Falcons that he did report to camp even without a contract. Man, if I'm Julio Jones, I'm sorry I don't go to camp. Sorry. I don't go to camp if I'm Julio Jones because why would I go? You pay me. Pay me. I am one of the top 2 wide receivers in the NFL. Pay me my money. The other top wide receiver decided to come to training camp in a helicopter. So that was pretty cool. Antonio Brown from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's getting paid. Not going to pay Julio? Come on, Arthur Blank. Pay the man his money. Pay him. Okay. That's my 2 cents on what the Atlanta Falcons need to do. Move on away from some signings. Some more interesting news out of the NFL this week as training camp begins to kick off. Jimmy Garoppolo. What are you doing, man? What are you doing, Jimmy Garoppolo? You can't be spotted as a franchise quarterback on a date with a porn star. What are you doing?
I did read about that.
I mean, what are you doing?
And then the thing is, he's got the boy. Well, my life sure has changed after becoming a starting quarterback. Like people people will just now notice you.
No.
What did you think being the starting quarterback of a team in a major market entailed? Maybe in Buffalo, nobody cares, but you're in San Francisco. You're in the Bay.
This is Keon Rose joining me, by the way.
Yeah, I just kind of drop in. I never introduce myself.
So her name, if I don't want to butcher it, but Kiera Mia is her name from the story I read on USA Today. But if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you got to think.
You really do.
You're out in LA with a porn star.
And you're Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's a good-looking guy. Like, it's not like no one notices that you're there.
Now, I'm not trying to shame Kiera Mia at all for what she does for her living. That's fine. But you're Jimmy Garoppolo. You are in the spotlight. You are a role model for children.
Just, it matters.
And he said, did you see his quote? He said, well, now I guess I'm under a microscope.
That's what being a starting quarterback is. And since you've always wanted this, how is this that you were somehow unaware that this is how this works?
This is the same guy in a Sports Illustrated article last week who said he thought he was better than Tom Brady when he got to New England, when he was drafted.
Which I'll defend that. Because to get to the NFL, what is it? Something like 1.6 or 2.6% of guys in college sports make it to the NFL. There's a certain level of delusional you have to be to even get to think that you have the ability to get there.
I love the confidence.
Yeah, so I'll give you that. But the fact that you want to be a starting quarterback and you were somehow unaware that starting quarterbacks in this world were under microscopes. we put Blake Bortles under a microscope, and he's Blake Bortles, and he's in Jacksonville. Of course they're going to put you under a microscope.
If I'm the San Francisco 49ers, if I'm John Lynch, I'm like, all right, Jimmy, we need to talk.
Yeah,
I want your personal life. I want you to have a personal life. But you also have to understand you are one of the 30 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I would even put Jimmy Garoppolo in the small sample size we have in the top half, if not higher, because I think he's going to be great.
Yeah, no, I mean, just you look at the film, like he clearly gets the game.
He's never lost the game.
Yeah, I mean 5-0, but
that's still pretty impressive.
No, it's still impressive. I mean, he clearly understands the game. It's not a fluke. Not only
did you go 5-0, you go 2-0 in New England without a Tom Brady you're the starter. So the pressure's there on you already there. Then you get traded to a bottom dweller.
1-10 when he got there.
They're the hottest team going out of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people's dark horse pick to win a Super Bowl.
And which is tough because I mean you're talking about the NFC West, you're talking about the Rams country, and you're just going to show up and take it. But he really looks the part. He really does.
And it's not like they beat teams that weren't very good at the end. They were beating playoff teams.
Yeah, I think they beat the Jags, and that's a tough defense. Yeah,
both.
So I mean that's a good solid run. How are you not aware that the all eyes are on you? You are one of 32 human beings that are a starting quarterback in the NFL. There's only 32 guys in the world with your job. Of course, you're under a microscope. Of course, people see you and pay attention to what you do. All the trivial stuff. You think, well, it's just a date or it's just I'm meeting a friend, but people are looking and it matters. Of course, it matters. And the fact that he just seems unaware. It's the lack of self-awareness that bothers me. Not to, steal the Colin Cowherd thing, but I'd like to see a quarterback with a little bit of self-awareness.
I completely agree with you. If you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you have to think, okay, if I'm going to date a porn star, maybe I shouldn't be out in the streets of LA on a Thursday night.
Right. I just, and paparazzi's everywhere, and Jimmy Garoppolo, he looks like the kind of guy that the paparazzi would follow and take pictures of, which is not his fault. But you've just got to be smarter about it. Like, why?
You are the San Francisco 49ers starting quarterback. Can we talk about just the pressure and the legendariness of being the San Francisco 49ers starting quarterback.
You're in the same shoes as Steve Young and Joe Montana. You're taking on a mantle that's so big. You don't get to just go, wait, what? I didn't know that I could do that. Like, you just can't.
You think Joe Montana or Steve Young's out there dating a porn star in public? No.
I'm trying to think of a team where like you could potentially, like if you were in like Minnesota.
Yeah, I ain't no porn stars in Minnesota.
No, there isn't. But like if I'm just saying, if you were in Minnesota, let's say, no one's really paying attention to you in Minnesota the way that they're paying attention to you, but you're the 49ers quarterback, right? Like the Vikings don't have any championships. Okay, you're the 49ers quarterback.
One of the most historic franchises in NFL history.
Right. You just, like, there's certain quarterback, like there's certain jobs you just can't do it in. I mean, it's not fair, but that's just the way it is. You can't be in that job. And unless you're going to try and like make an honest woman out of that girl, like then you just can't be there. Like you really just can't. That's just all it is.
I really like Jimmy Garoppolo a lot. I really do. Like, I think he's going to be so great. And then he does something like this, and it's the facepalm moment. You need a facepalm emoji on your phone. It's like, what are you? Why? Why? At least don't be out in the streets of LA with her.
Yeah, like there's
on a first date.
Pick a smaller town in California. There's a bunch of those. Try not to be so public. Just anyway, like even if it wasn't her, try not to be so public because people are following you. They want in on your private life. That's just what's going to happen here.
You're right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more NFL when we get back. Second segment. You're listening to The Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew, Keon Rose, 92.7 FM, Nougat Radio. We'll be right back.
Traffic, news, and information. Nougat Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chatter, Nougat Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
He's been arrested 55 times in 19 years. Now Gary Little is charged with aggressive panhandling, trespassing, and public intoxication. The manager for City Cafe told the Chattanoogan that he had an altercation with Little in the parking lot when he told him to get lost. The TBI nabbed 3 suspects in connection with the death of Thomas Rogers in Pikeville. His body found in the woods shortly after he was reported missing. The TBI in a press release says Nikayla Sullivan, Mercelina Leal, and Kevin Bundy were all charged in Rogers' death, all placed in the Bledsoe County Jail without bond. And Judge Pam Fleener says bookkeeper Francine Lab stole almost $2 million from an art dealer. Frank Fowler is the damaged party. Reports say Lab was able to return a series of items purchased with stolen money, including luxury cars, jewelry, handbags, and designer clothing. Val St. John for Nougat Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
David Toulis. I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nougat Radio.
92.7 Chattanooga weather.
Becoming fair out there through your nighttime hours. A little milder overnight, lows into the upper 60s. For your weekend, looking great. Lots of sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. Highs tomorrow into the upper 80s. Lows mid and upper 60s by Sunday morning. Lots of sun near 90 Sunday. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Soren 12. She's meteorologist at your 4.
Nougat Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. No, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. Then if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner. Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Call 423-875-3600 if you're looking to expand your professional look of your business. Then consider the vast opportunities that are available when you locate your office with the Raines Group family. Remember, it's location, location, location. And the Raines Group has the location for your professional office. Check out the spaces for lease at Executive Business Park on the Lee Highway. Small or large, we will be able to suit your needs with the Raines Group. Call 423-875-3600 for the business professionals with the Raines Group.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting friends, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hicks and Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7.
Nuga Radio.
Welcome back. The Breakfast Blitz with Nicholas UT on Road joining me. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. We've been talking a little bit of NFL. We're going to finish out the first hour talking more NFL. I broke it down for everybody before you got here, Keon. No more weekends without football until February of 2019.
I like that. That feels very good. That feels fantastic.
Isn't it great?
It's okay. So I like this better, and my family's about to hate me right now, but I like this better than Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and my own birthday.
Oh, definitely more than my own birthday.
The beginning of football season is simply like, because you have high school, then literally the week after college starts, and then the week after the NFL starts. It's a beautiful stretch of 3 weekends where it just gets to be where there's so much football. You try and take it all in and you can't. And it's how you feel when you go to an actually good buffet and everything looks good, but you know that you can't eat everything. That's what that feels like. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
Isn't it great? Oh, God,
it's a beautiful time of year.
It's so exciting. And
I don't understand what Christmas has on the beginning of football season.
I don't either. It is my Christmas, man. That first Saturday of college football, September 1st, that's my Christmas. It's like opening presents as a kid, and you're just like, oh, look at this game, and look at this game, and look at this game.
And look who's good, and look who's awful, and wow, I can't believe that guy's actually decent. Like, everything just feels fresh and new.
And everybody has a chance.
And that's the feeling. I think the NFL is really good at that, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
Because you don't really, like, I root for the Redskins. If I'm completely 100% honest with myself, no, not a chance in hell. Like, the Eagles are way too good. The Cowboys have Ezekiel Elliott back. And I can't imagine that the Giants are going to be as terrible as they were last year now that they've got Odell Beckham Jr. coming back and they've added Saquon Barkley. Like, really? Not really. We don't have a chance. But it feels like it, though, because you never know what's going to happen.
Must be what it feels like to be a Colts fan, too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because it's like...
You get Andrew Luck back. He's actually throwing.
I want to talk about that a second. I broke it down a little bit when I talked about Taylor Lewan's contract. It's unbelievable to me how quickly they fail. Because you're talking about at one point 2 years ago, this was the worst division in football.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts had the best quarterback. Obviously, he had been injured in the division by far. Like, it wasn't even close. And they still couldn't win the division. And then now you're looking at them being by far the worst team in the division, with a division that could realistically put in 3 teams in the playoffs.
It's possible. This might be the AFC South might be the best division in football because Jacksonville and that defense, they're not going anywhere. And then you got to look at Houston, what they're able to do defensively, what Deshaun Watson was able to give them last year if he stays healthy, how good they can possibly be. Obviously, the Titans made the playoffs last year and had a run, and you can't imagine
with an idiot coach,
with a moron for a coach. And so we're
theme in this state.
Correct. So we're looking for that leap in Mariota and what it is that he's going to be doing. So I mean, this is potentially an incredible AFC South. Andrew Luck comes back, and hopefully they have built up that team while he was gone.
They haven't,
to the point where they can at least look competitive, because he's not. You can't put a big load on him coming back. We haven't seen him in any game time at all. Like, he's going to have to really play significant preseason snaps. Yeah, it's been 2 years.
I mean, yeah, you know.
And he just started throwing a football this summer.
If I'm the Colts, I hope for a 500 season. That's my hope.
I think that's fair. Only because Andrew Luck used to be the kind of quarterback you could drop back 40, 45 times a game and have him sling it. We don't know where that shoulder is. We have no clue, and I don't think it's smart, and I don't think it's fair, nor do I think it makes any sense to have him be that kind of quarterback right out of the gate. I think you have to build him up to that. It was his throwing shoulder that got injured, that they allowed to stay injured, that they didn't clear the surgery for. Like, the Colts completely ruined this entire situation and made it so that Andrew Luck missed all the time that he wound up missing. So they have to take their time with him, because this guy's supposed to be your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years, and we don't know if he's going to be there for the next 3.
It's amazing.
It's
realistically.
Amazing. And they could have ruled this division for years, and they screwed it up.
And they already had when Peyton was there. I mean, they already had. And then, you know, I wonder if part of it is kind of karma, the way that they just kind of threw Peyton to the wolves.
A little bit, but also a lot of this is just kind of when they drafted Andrew Luck and Andrew was really good. Like, they didn't feel the need to build a real team around him. Never gave him a defense.
Sounds like what they did to Peyton.
Yeah. Never gave him a defense like they never gave Peyton a defense. Offensive line actually got worse. They somehow didn't fix that. And while they drafted a bunch of talented receivers, all of those guys are tiny. T.Y. Hilton's great, but he's not big at all. Like, would it not be nice to give Andrew Luck a guy that's
go get the ball
6'5", 6'6", and he just boxes people out and comes down with the ball in the back of the end zone? Because that's what almost everyone else has. You know, even like Carson Wentz, you got Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, everyone's got a big dude they could just throw the ball up to.
I mean, even the Titans do in Rashard Matthews. I mean, you got to have,
just have
somebody.
one guy. And I thought, well, boy, Des Bryant is available and out there. Why not take a gamble on Des Bryant? Didn't do it. Didn't do it.
No.
Obviously, Des is going to come with his fair share of headaches and problems, but he's a big, strong receiver that's fast.
Yeah.
And, it just, even to be a stopgap kind of guy until you draft the receiver that would eventually replace him, it's silly.
It is. And talking about bad drafting and poor team management.
Plenty of that to go around.
Let's move back out to the West Coast.
Okay.
Seattle. Okay. Perennial powerhouse since Pete Carroll's been there. It's all starting to fall apart.
It is.
And just the latest in absolute draft disasters. Their second round draft pick from 2017. Malik McDowell, defensive lineman, cut this week.
Couldn't get on the field.
Cut.
Never played for him.
Not even cut after training camp. Like cut before training camp.
Which has to be a little bit demoralizing if you're him.
Well, good Lord, he got in an ATV accident before he even was able to see the field. Like, don't get on a four-wheeler.
And I know that's in your contract somewhere, because I know that like I have had the opportunity to see at least one NFL contract. They're like half a phone book thick. They cover everything. There isn't anything in there that isn't covered. I can't imagine they are just cool with you. Like, yeah, let's just get on an off-roading vehicle that's incredibly heavy that you should probably be very responsible to operate, and you're a rookie. So, yeah, let's trust you with that. No, I'm sure the language in there identifies
and of
that
course, as a football player, the injury he gets out of that, you can break things, whatever. Nope. Major concussion. Okay. So, problem number one. Problem number two, he gets arrested in December in Atlanta. Like, what are you doing? Go sit home, drink you some Starbucks in Seattle, and sit down and don't do anything. You're already on thin ice.
Well, how you get on thin ice? If you're the kind of guy that gets on thin ice that early, you're not going to stop, right? Like you feel like you're playing with house money to a certain point.
And then, of course, he gets arrested for the most vague reason ever: disorderly conduct.
Which could have been any number of stupid things.
So God knows what he actually did to get arrested for disorderly conduct in the city of Atlanta. Like, you have to really be being disorderly.
To stand out in that city. Like, you know how many people successfully go to Atlanta, go to a strip club, and make it back to their house without a disorderly conduct? That's so many people. Yes, it's impossible. What you are doing, if you cannot somehow, again, make it out of your house to the bar or the strip club where you are trying to be and back to your house without picking up some kind of charge, you have to be borderline incompetent, basically, to do that, to not manage to make it back to your house without an arrest.
So I say all this for Malik McDowell to really bring up a bigger point. And this is not to just slam Malik McDowell, because this isn't just a Malik McDowell problem. This is a Seattle Seahawks problem, because since 2012, now 2012, they had a great draft class. You got Russell Wilson out of that class. Mm-hmm. You got Bobby Wagner out of that class.
Yep.
So you did a great job in that class. Since then, they've drafted one player that starts for them.
I think the year before they drafted Richard Sherman. Yeah, no, they built their team very brilliantly. And the Russell Wilson thing, I think that they got lucky with that one, because if
nobody knew that.
Yeah, if they knew he was going to be that good, they would have drafted him earlier. That's for sure. But yeah, no, they had a great draft class. I think the issue with the Seahawks is that they didn't know after their team got established what their identity was. Because I think on the offensive side of the ball, that started to take over. Once you really got a lot of confidence behind Russell Wilson and you go, okay, we have the kind of quarterback that can change and take over games, then you want to shift more to an offensive kind of team. But this was a defensive team. That's the squad that you built. That's the identity that you were. You were the Legion of Boom.
And now you're the Legion of Crap.
Yeah, now you're the Legion. I mean, nothing. There's nothing there. I mean, it's when you talk about the cupboard being completely empty, and I don't know how you allow that to happen.
And not only that, I mean, you look and you lose Richard Sherman to go to a division rival. And, who was it that retired? Was it Chancellor?
Yeah, it was Cam Chancellor. He retired because of the neck injury, which sucks.
And I understand that. He's got to take care of himself. But if you're Seattle, how are you not looking at contingency plans? Because the one starter that they drafted since 2012, that's 6 years ago. That's 6 draft classes ago. They've drafted one starter, and it's a wide receiver in Tyler Lockett. And the only reason he's been any good is because of his returning skills.
And Tyler Lockett's fast, and look, he's also a very capable receiver for Russell Wilson because he does have that speed. And Russell Wilson does do the whole backyard football kind of thing where just plays break down. And because their offensive line is so bad, plays always break down.
Because they never draft one.
Yeah, correct. They haven't drafted a really good offensive lineman, like a blue chip kind of guy, since Russell Okung in 2010. Okay, yeah. It's been forever. And he's not on the squad anymore. Like this offensive line is in shambles. Tyler Lockett actually is an important member of that team because nothing works. Nothing else actually works. So yeah, and of course you mentioned, I think we were off the air, the trading of first and second round picks to try and gamble on Jimmy Graham
and Percy Harvin.
The Jimmy Graham one I get because you're just trying to get the big, tall, strong tight end.
I get it, and because Russell Wilson would thrive with a tight end.
Right. I think a lot of it was we kind of maybe overestimated how much or underestimated how much Drew Brees made Jimmy Graham.
Not only that, too, is I also think the offense that Pete Carroll decides to run doesn't showcase a tight end.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And you go and you trade a first-round draft pick in 2015 for one of the best tight ends in the game.
One of the best receiving tight ends. Unfortunately, because your offensive line is bad, maybe a guy that blocks better would be great, but Jimmy Graham can't block.
No, you're exactly right. And then, of course, you used your 2013 first-round draft pick for injury-riddled but really good receiver Percy Harvin, who, did he ever even see the field in Seattle? And if he did, it was very small amounts.
I remember, I'm pretty sure Percy Harvin has not played more than 8 games in a season for that squad. Like I don't know this, but I'm fairly certain. Just
how does your drafting get that bad? Like what happens in that war room that it just completely falls apart?
I think you just lose track of your identity. I honestly, because for instance, when that team was originally built, we're a defensive squad. We play smash mouth football. We've got a big, strong offensive line. We've got beast mode. That was the team. And I think you got lucky with Russell Wilson and you want to showcase him more. Fine, fair enough. But their experiments in trying to get him a premier receiver have all just blown up in their faces. They've wasted numerous picks on trying to get him a guy. And he's proven he's fine without one. I mean, honestly, they should.
He's got Doug Baldwin, who's pretty good.
Who's all pro. All pro. I think you have to go back to the smash mouth football because Baldwin is fine enough, and it's not like Russell Wilson isn't good enough to make and elevate the rest of that receiving core like he was doing in his rookie season when you didn't expect it. So just go back to that. He's good enough. He's the kind of guy he'll get his. But you can't run now. They can't run. You hope Rashad Penny will be good enough to help him out, but
that was a gamble too. And here's
drafted him way too high,
first round,
and the offensive line still stinks. So I don't know what you expect. Like if Rashad Penny comes out and he's no good, I don't even blame Rashad Penny.
I remember sitting and watching the draft with some friends, and I remember we did your show right before, so I left a little early to go watch the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched that pick, and I'm sitting there, and I'm scratching my head.
Yeah, you were texting me while I was on the air because it was just unbelievable.
I was like, what are they doing? Like, this is worse than what the Browns just did. Like, can we start to the point where we can start arguing, is Seattle's drafting the last 6 years worse than Cleveland's?
I don't know that that's an argument. I honestly think that Seattle, it doesn't show. And the reason why is because
they built it so well before 2012.
Correct. And also Russell Wilson is a stud. And that's a Band-Aid. Like great quarterback is a Band-Aid that covers so much in the NFL. You don't even notice what's wrong until the guy's missing.
Indianapolis
God forbid.
2000s with Peyton Manning.
Right. And then even with Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I mean, Luck took them to an AFC championship game.
with nothing.
With nothing. And the moment he's injured,
You're
you're
2-14.
2-14. You just go right back to stinking. There was nothing on that team to begin with. You just kind of covered it up with a nice, wonderful quarterback Band-Aid. I remember Peyton Manning made the top 100 players list the year he didn't play because the Colts were so bad that it was just like, yeah, that guy's great. And you know why he's great? Because this team's 1-15.
And what was it, the year before they went to the AFC Championship?
Yeah. That team wasn't any good. And I look at the Seahawks and I see a similar situation where you've got Doug Baldwin, you've got Russell Wilson. I don't know what else is on that squad. You had Cam Chancellor, now he's gone too.
You had Richard Sherman, he's gone.
You have these defensive guys too. They didn't
Wagner. They have Bobby Wagner.
They have Bobby Wagner, which they didn't even want to pay him. Like they haggled him. It's just like, who are you going to pay if you're not going to pay the elite defense that brought you to Super Bowls in the first place? The 2012 Seattle Seahawks legitimately might be like a top 3 all-time defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know that anyone's going to dethrone the 85 Bears, and the 2000 Ravens are also fairly horrifying. But like the 2012 Seattle Seahawks might be one of the scariest defenses we've ever seen.
Agreed.
And they managed to not pay any of those people.
And they are all over the place now.
Yeah. Then now they just have Bobby Wagner, who's great, but like you can't just have Bobby Wagner.
And to sit here and to think, is Pete Carroll in trouble? But realistically, and I know Pete Carroll has his hand in everything with that roster. He's got a lot of power there. But what's going on with the scouting department? Because clearly you're not vetting these people. You got a guy, if we go back to Malik McDowell, who can't even find the field.
Just poor decisions off the field before ever getting there.
Like, you vet these guys. You go to the combine and you talk to these guys. This isn't...
I mean, because you hear all the stories about guys, scouts at the combine, that ask just the worst, most intrusive questions. But there's a reason for that.
Yes.
Still, some of them aren't okay. But at least you err on the side of, I might ask something too ridiculous to understand who this guy is, rather than not ask enough questions. I don't know what the Seahawks are doing. I have no clue.
Do they even go and ask these kids questions, or do they just do whatever they want? Because I feel like an example of Malik McDowell was really highly touted, and he could be great, and he could still go somewhere else and be great, which that would be very Seattle Seahawks.
Right. And because I think that, okay, you take a gamble on a guy like that, the guy with the poor decision making.
Put him on a practice squad.
You can take a guy like that if you've got a strong locker room culture. The Seahawks don't have it anymore. It's
Tennessee
gone.
Titans, take a gamble.
If you think you've got the strength of quality guys, and I do think that the Titans do have a lot of those guys. Like I know, like Brian Orakpo is a pretty strong leader, and a good
Taylor Lewan, even though he's a psycho, is a great leader.
But he's a good dude. So like you have good leaders on the squad. Like I don't know who that is for Seattle.
Russell Wilson.
It's Russell Wilson,
and that's it.
But especially when you draft a defensive guy, you need some on the other side of the ball too.
And then you're throwing in, not to mention, Pete Carroll's not been known as the most upstanding of coaches.
And Pete Carroll's also the guy that kind of thrives a little bit in chaos, where he just kind of lets the locker room sort itself out. And sometimes that works. And I think if you have a bunch of high character guys, the locker room sorting itself out is fine. The problem is when you have those guys leave, when you have Richard Sherman go. And I know what people, he's got a big mouth or whatever, but like Richard Sherman is a smart, high IQ football player.
But he went to Stanford.
Correct.
He's not stupid.
If you have multiple of those guys, Cam Chancellor's a similar way, then your locker room's going to be fine with McDowell. You put McDowell on a team where
none of those guys are there.
Take a guess at what you've got.
Well, what we'll do is when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit of college football. We're sticking close. Breakfast Blitz, 927 FM Nougat Radio.
Traffic, news, and information. Nougat Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. now.
A propeller chopped into a man's head in Cleveland. The police confirmed Lenny Kramer was 69 years old when the propeller of his private plane hit him. He was airlifted to Erlanger Medical Center where he was later confirmed dead. The FAA and NTSB are involved. He was visiting the area from Florida. In East Ridge, there was a shooting on Seminole Street at 5 o'clock in the morning. Reports say one man was hit multiple times by bullets. He was rushed to the hospital. The East Ridge police later confirmed he was in critical condition. After a series of water main breaks on Hickson Pike, one lane is going to be closed for at least 3 weeks, according to work crews. The water main breaks happened near Lupton Drive on Hickson Pike. Tennessee American Water handles that pipeline, which had been there since 1954. Fire broke out at a car repair shop on Cemetery Avenue. The fire chief, Danny Haig, says that the roof was on fire. It suffered smoke and water damage. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News. Now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Chattanooga weather.
Becoming fair out there through your nighttime hours. A little milder overnight, lows into the upper 60s. For your weekend, looking great. Lots of sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. Highs tomorrow into the upper 80s. Lows mid and upper 60s by Sunday morning. Lots of sun near 90 Sunday. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Soren 12, Chief Meteorologist at your 4.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
My ex recently hacked my email and my social media, and it really caused me some problems. I changed all my passwords, which helped, but I'm still getting trolled, maybe even stalked. I know it's him. I just can't prove it.
My business, well, it's been broken into twice already. I've got cameras, but that only helps after the fact. I'd rather prevent it from happening in the first place.
Unity One East is your solution to these and many other security concerns. With private investigation, security services, and backed by decades of real-life experience in military and law enforcement, Unity One East is your instant contact for security, investigation, and consultation to help protect you, your family, and your business. No 1-800 number, no red tape, no wait, because Unity One East is local and available 24/7. Reclaim your peace of mind. Call Unity One East, 475-6206, 475-6206.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. Then if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house.
WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter. I'm Gary Nunn. A massive wildfire continues to devastate an area near Redding, California, obliterating dozens of homes.
It's like a war zone. It's just like a bomb just hit each house and just exploded.
KPIX TV reporter Katie Nielsen says the hot, dry weather is only one of many problems facing fire crews.
Right now, they have about 3,000 firefighters. They've also ordered the super tanker, which is the largest fire retardant dropping airplane in the world, to come in and start helping trying to get some lines around this fire. The problem is we have 18 other fires burning around the state of California right now, so resources are spread thin.
9 people are missing. The fire is only about 5% contained. Investigators reviewing the audio and video from the sunken duck boat in southwestern Missouri say they are likely facing new questions about the decision to get on Table Rock Lake. CBS's Chris Van Cleve.
About 40 minutes before the storm hit, the crew was advised to do the water portion of the tour first. And as passengers were loading, the captain is heard making reference to having checked the weather radar prior to the trip. About 4 minutes before the video cuts off, the first alarm is heard. 16 passengers and a crew member died when the duck boat sank.
5 people are dead in 2 shooting incidents in the Corpus Christi, Texas area. KZTV's Drew Spire says that the ordeal ended at a nursing home in suburban Robstown.
That's where they found 3 people dead, including the shooter. Now, according to the city secretary, 2 other victims were found in a home belonging to the shooter. It was believed the shooter killed them at his home first, then went to the nursing home where he shot 2 others before turning the gun on himself.
There's no ID on the victims. The motive is unclear. CBS is investigating misconduct claims against CEO Les Moonves, claims published in the New Yorker by Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Ronan Farrow.
It involves 6 women overcoming a lot of fear of retaliation to tell very serious stories of sexual misconduct about Les Moonves, one of the most powerful men in television.
Moonves, responding, says there were times decades ago when he may have made some women uncomfortable by making advances. According to Moonves, those were mistakes, and he regrets them immensely. Anywhere but North America and Greenland, sky watchers were treated to a complete lunar eclipse, the longest one this century. The so-called blood moon turned deep red, lasting 1 hour, 43 minutes. One woman in Australia.
Beautiful. It's pink mist all around. It looks lovely.
The next lunar viewable eclipse in North America is January 21st next year. This is CBS News.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified candidates for businesses of all sizes. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
These days, there's enough to stress about. Do I eat enough kale? Do I eat too much kale? What's the best way to sell my car? What color should I paint the kitchen? Well, at CarMax, we can't help you with the kitchen or the kale, but we can help you sell your car. Because at CarMax, we make real offers, not estimates, so you can sell your car quickly and get back to pondering your leafy greens and picking the perfect paint. CarMax, we buy all the cars.
The Mitsubishi Motors Summer Season Pass sales event. That's 0% financing for 72 months and no payments for 90 days on select models. Take the all-new 2018 Eclipse Cross with its striking design and advanced technology. Start a road trip with up to 7 passengers in the 2018 Outlander. Or be adventure-capable and energy-efficient with the all-new 2018 Outlander PHEV. Hurry into your local Mitsubishi Motors dealer. Exciting offers end July 31st. Special financing and option of deferred payment available through Ally Financial, subject to approved credit and insurance. Price, terms, and vehicle availability may vary. May not combine with factory cash rebates. See your participating dealer for details. Offer valid from July 6th through July 31st, 2018.
It is National Dance Day, one designated to encourage everyone to put some music on and get their feet moving and promote health and self-esteem. CBS's Jim Taylor.
Here's what Wikipedia says. Dance is a performing art form consisting of purposefully selected sequences of human movement. Oh, yeah? It is National Dance Day, celebrated annually by the Dizzy Feet Foundation. So do it, even if we're just dancing in the dark. I'm Jim Taylor, CBS News.
He played the father on PBS's An American Family. Actor Bill Loud has died. The show on in the 1970s, regarded as the beginning of reality TV. Loud also the head of an affluent real-life household. He was 97 years old. Gary Nunn, CBS News.
Hey, guys.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A propeller chopped into a man's head in Cleveland. The police confirmed Lenny Kramer was 69 years old when the propeller of his private plane hit him. He was airlifted to Erlanger Medical Center where he was later confirmed dead. The FAA and NTSB are involved. He was visiting the area from Florida. In East Ridge, there was a shooting on Seminole Street at 5 o'clock in the morning. Reports say one man was hit multiple times by bullets. He was rushed to the hospital. The East Ridge police later confirmed he was in critical condition. After a series of water main breaks on Hickson Pike, one lane is going to be closed for at least 3 weeks, according to work crews. The water main breaks happen near Lupton Drive on Hickson Pike. Tennessee American Water handles that pipeline, which had been there since 1954. Fire broke out at a car repair shop on Cemetery Avenue. The fire chief, Danny Haig, says that the roof was on fire. It suffered smoke and water damage. Russell Stroud, Chattanooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather.
Becoming fair out there through your nighttime hours. A little milder overnight, lows into the upper 60s. For your weekend, looking great. Lots of sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. Highs tomorrow into the upper 80s. Lows mid and upper 60s by Sunday morning. Lots of sun near 90 Sunday. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Sortine 12 Chief Meteorologist Asher 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Rick is buying and selling a woman's best friend, diamonds. Stop in now and check out the wide selection from Chattanooga's premier jeweler, Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga. Before you buy, let Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds create that special gift for you. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew, Keon Rose. We spent the first hour really talking just and you know, it's that time of year when realistically we could spend a whole show just talking football, and so that's what we're going to do.
It makes radio so much easier. Football makes radio the easiest thing ever.
Yeah, it does, and it's great.
It's fantastic.
Now, I want to move from the professional ranks to the college ranks.
Okay, because there's plenty there too.
And I want to start with a story that broke this week with Urban Meyer. Now, it wasn't Urban Meyer necessarily,
but he's a big part of the story too.
Now, Urban Meyer's wide receiver coach and recruiting coordinator, Zach Smith. Now, this is a guy that was with him at Florida as a GA, and now with him at Ohio State. Now, I'll break down the story. I want to get Keon's opinion, and then I'm going to get mine. Now, obviously, my opinion of Urban Meyer is very low.
which I can understand it during his time at Florida. Urban Meyer just completely unscrupulous with who he allowed to be on that team, the crimes that he left unpunished by players that he had.
And we'll break that down too, because I have a list of players who have gotten in trouble that either got in trouble while at Florida with him or after the fact. Zach Smith, wide receiver coach. 2009, domestic violence charge against his wife. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about second chances for people, but I'm also all about not hitting women. Like, that's a thing that, to me, that's a zero tolerance. And I'm sorry.
I'm for second chances too. I just need to know you're never doing this again, right? Like because I can understand in the heat of the moment you do something you regret. What are you doing to make sure that never happens again?
And exactly. So yeah, 0 tolerance. You break it down. This is your deal. You have one more chance. You got to promise me this isn't happening again. Guess what? It happened again. 6 years later, 2015, domestic violence charge. Now, here's the thing. None of this came out until now. So to me, this is now where it is on Urban Meyer. You knew about this, Urban Meyer. Quit being a scumbag and fire the guy. I understand he's your bag man and he's the one who takes the money to these kids when you pay them to play.
Allegedly.
But for the love of God, he's a piece of crap. And now you're a piece of scum because you've let him stay on your staff for 10 years.
Once is a mistake, 2 times is a pattern. I mean, that's the way I think about it. You really can't have this going on. Like it's to me, so at some point, something has got to be more important than football. And this is the reason why I got so pissed off with Art Browse and all the Baylor stuff, where you're just players are involved in all manner of sexual assault and you're covering it up. Like something's got to be more important than football to you. And if you're Urban Meyer and one of your coaches hitting his wife, if that's not more important to football than you, what on earth actually is?
And this is where the culture is the problem, Keon, because people say, well, it's a culture thing in football. And I agree, it's 100% a culture thing in football and maybe sports in general. But if we don't hold these kids, we try to hold these kids to a high standard with these domestic violence charges. We kick them off teams. We do all this stuff. But then you allow the people who influence them the most in their coaching staff, the people that they see more than their family, to influence them. And this is what they do. And we wonder why there's a problem. Yeah, this is why there's a problem.
And I think this actually goes beyond sports because, I mean, we've seen all this stuff with like all the Hollywood guys that were just caught up in all of this. And you just go, wow, when does it actually stop? I do think that there's a certain level of there's not enough recourse for what happens when someone in a position of power abuses that power. Like, you can get away with actually harming your wife because, well, I'm a football coach and they're going to make sure they're going to take care of
They're going to cover it up.
They're going to make sure that I don't get caught. How is that acceptable in any way?
It's not. And again, there's very, very few things that a long time ago, I talk to people about this all the time. Very long time ago when I was really young, I began to understand to separate what happens on and off the field for athletes. I can like somebody on the field and not like them off the field. But there's a line. And when you start getting into domestic violence, and then you're a coach and you start to cover it up. And this is, I think, to kind of tie it to Tennessee a little bit, this is where I think my anger towards Butch Jones and beginning to think that this wasn't going to work out began when the AJ Johnson and Michael Williams both, and that just happened this week too, where they were found not guilty of their sexual assault charges, which that's a whole nother story. And we may get into that in the next segment. But Butch Jones covers all this up by talking to the police and then belittling a player who ends up transferring, and Dre Bowles saying he's a traitor because he told on his teammates for domestic violence.
That one player had a spine and more moral fortitude than his coach. That's crazy to me. That's insane.
So this isn't just an Urban Meyer problem.
Yeah.
And look, I hate Urban Meyer. I do not like the guy. I think he's a piece of scum. I really do. I think the way that he left Florida was awful because clearly that was a lie with his health. That was a lie. So I think I don't respect him and I don't like him, but I'll say this, it's not just an Urban Meyer problem. It is a culture problem, and it's not just a culture problem in athletics, but it's a culture problem in athletics because that's what we see. They're very, you see them all the time. They represent, in college athletics, they represent the university more than anybody ever will.
Right. And I do think that I consider sports, like, I'm a very political person. I love politics, but I won't do a politics show, but I will do a sports show. I do think that sports are a vanguard of society, which is to say that what we allow to happen in sports, we will most likely allow to happen in society as a whole. And if this is the kind of thing that we allow to happen in our sports, then what is it that is that saying about society? What does that say about the rest of us? And I don't like what it's saying. Now,
and here's the thing too, and so I'm gonna break this down a little bit more on what Urban Meyer has on his staff. Urban Meyer began to talk about, or it's well known that he's been telling Zach Smith for a while to try to find another job. He's also done the same thing for Greg Schiano, and nobody will hire him except for that idiot John Curry at Tennessee. Greg Schiano, same moral problems. Maybe not in the aspect of him actually doing anything wrong, other than the fact he was guilty by omission because he didn't say anything.
Right, which is, you have to, this is the thing, like the cover-up is always worse than the crime. And when you look at a lot of these situations, it's made worse by the fact that where initially there was one person wrong, you have a bunch of people complicit in this because they're trying to just make it go away.
Where did morals go? Like, I'm sorry.
I think they still exist, but I think that there's a group of guys, especially in college football, just because of how competitive this game is, that are willing to let absolutely awful, morally catastrophic things slide in the name of winning. Because it's just like, sure, I could have my morals, but I might not have this job next week. And yes, obviously, if there's a guy on your coaching staff and he's beating his wife, you might consider that being more important than your job. But if you put someone in the pressure cooker of college football and it's a what have you done for me lately situation, someone might choose the football. And Urban Meyer, his entire career is a masterclass in choosing the football over what's right.
You're 100% right. I mean, we look at guys that he's had on his roster. I still want the 30 for 30 of the team in Florida that had Aaron Hernandez, Riley Cooper, and Tim Tebow on it.
Because there's
a preacher, a racist, and a murderer.
How does that happen? Like, how did that squad gel? How did they ever win games? If that doesn't tell you the beauty of football in terms of uniting people, that team, nothing ever will teach you that. But also, Urban Meyer had Aaron Hernandez on his team, and there's enough evidence there to show that Aaron Hernandez may have been causing homicides while he was there, before New England.
And then you have Riley Cooper, who Riley Cooper didn't really ever do anything legally wrong. He's just a piece of trash.
Yeah. And somehow managed to keep his he managed to be a player at Florida, and then in the NFL still managed to somehow get a new contract. Winning becomes the most important thing. You can
throw this one out too. Janoris Jenkins. Janoris Jenkins ended up getting kicked off of Florida after Urban Meyer was gone for being a thug. And now you start seeing what's happened over there since he's with issues with violence and stuff like that since he's been in the NFL. Urban Meyer, I mean, good Lord, is there anybody worse with his players having no morality? He's got Tim Tebow, so that may fix most things because Tim Tebow is the exact opposite of everything anybody else he's ever had on a roster.
Right. But I mean, okay, so he had to kick Cam off of his roster. I guarantee you he doesn't do that if he doesn't have Tebow.
100% he doesn't.
The only, you get to make an example out of Cam because, I got Tebow and, he's really the guy. But
And I'll say this too, because you look at what's going on at Florida right now. Jim McElwain had some of the same issues with not taking moral high ground with some of his players. And now Dan Mullen, and I'll give Dan Mullen credit. He's come in there and he's starting to kind of rule with an iron fist. He kicks a freshman off the roster, highly touted freshman this week, who can't stay out of trouble. You know, gave him a second chance and then he blew it. And then now they have this whole story that I don't know if it's been blown out of proportion or not with the gambler and the coming and the frying pans and everything that happened in Gainesville with some players. Dan Mullen and Dan Mullen's an Urban Meyer guy, but maybe Dan Mullen can fix whatever's going on down in Gainesville because that's a mess too.
Well, part of it is that Dan Mullen's incentives are a little bit different. Dan Mullen is more of a player development coach than a recruiter. So Dan Mullen actually doesn't care how good you are. Like, if you can't play, I'll coach you up. And if you can play and you're a dirtbag, I don't need you. I actually don't need you. I can make bad players good.
And I think you're starting to see that too. And with Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee as well, he's kicked a guy off the roster. Domestic violence charge. Didn't even wait until it, found out anything. Nope, you're gone. See ya.
I mean, because here's the thing. If you're the kind of person that finds yourself in the situation where that kind of comes up, like, if I'm fairly certain you're not telling me the truth, I don't need to wait. This is not a court of law. I don't really need that much proof.
So clearly those two campuses too have had in the past with the last two coaches. And obviously I think Florida well before that. And maybe Tennessee was too, a culture where it was a problem. I think these two guys are coming in and trying to fix that.
And there are cultures obviously where you win, where you're actually winning and it's a problem. I think that it's a problem at Alabama with Nick Saban. And Nick Saban has done things where I just go, you're not interested in discipline at all. No. Like, he had a couple of players a few years back.
Cam Robinson. You remember that?
Cam Robinson.
With the gun charge.
With the gun charge and the marijuana in the car. And what is Nick Saban's punishment for Cam Robinson? Well, I'll have him do a ride along with the police. That is not a punishment. That's a thing. Every citizen has a right to do that. If you want to know how the police department works and say you have some misconceptions about the police, you can go right along with the police, see how hard their job actually is, see what they actually have to deal with on a day-to-day basis and go, maybe I was a little too harsh on them. That's not a punishment. That's an actual right that you have as a citizen of the state that you live in. Cam didn't miss any games. Like, I just, that's not a punishment. No. Nick Saban does stuff like this because Nick Saban, like everybody else, is interested really mostly in winning.
At what point does this become such a problem that it's not fixable anymore? It's irreparable.
I think, honestly, I think there's a strong possibility we might already be there, because we have to find a way to reward coaches who do take moral high grounds, because where we currently are, and
a bonus for kicking players off the team.
Yeah, I took, my major was broadcast journalism, but if it wasn't, I would have taken economics. And like, economics is all about incentives.
Mm-hmm.
The incentive right now, if you're a coach, is to let scumbags be on your team so that you can win, because the more games you win, the more likely they extend your contract, the more money you stand to make. If you kick a guy off the squad and you take the moral high ground, someone might give you a pat on the back. But if, as a result of that, your team goes, you win 6-7 games, and this happens 3 or 4 years in a row because you're just not taking the best players, you're taking the best character guys, it's really hard to be the good character coach and a winner. It's possible, it's been done, but most guys aren't that talented. And so you end up with the guy, I'll take the 5-star that's just got a drug problem.
And we continue this culture problem by, and I'm guilty of it too, because I love it, watching shows like Last Chance U. And the things that go on and everything, I don't know if you've watched any of the new one or not.
I have not.
And it's really unbelievable. I think I really like the coach that they're following now. But man, what some of these kids do and have done, sometimes there's not, shouldn't be a chance.
Sometimes there shouldn't be a chance, but sometimes that's the wake up call. Like I was watching the Football Life episode for Chris Carter, and he was talking about the problems that he had with drugs and his addiction, and Buddy Ryan cut him.
Yeah.
And Chris Carter is the first person to say that Buddy Ryan
saved his
life. Was his favorite coach, saved his life. And that's the best thing that anybody ever did for him was cut him. You're not doing these kids any favors by
you're enabling them.
Yeah, plugging your ears with your fingers and going la 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 la. I'm not seeing you do that. I'm not seeing you do that. Like no, you have to be hard on them. Not just because you need to be a moral person as the leader of this team, but also they need you to do that to them.
They need you to be a father. And whether or not as a football coach, you know this, you signed up to be that kid's father.
Right. No, I 100% agree.
And if you do a bad job, you failed that kid. I don't care how many games you win. Your job is to make these kids into men. Because like I said, you see them more than they see their families. And so from their most formative years of being 18 to 22, you're their father. Be a man, and if they aren't being men, show them how to do it. I'm all about second chances. People make mistakes.
Yeah, but there has to be real punishments. You can't do the Kevin Sumlin, okay, Johnny Manziel's in trouble, I'm going to suspend him for a half. Like, that's stupid. Then what does that teach him? Nothing.
Not a thing.
What that teaches him is, well, as long as people need my arm, I can do whatever I want.
And we see what's happened to Johnny Manziel because of it.
Yeah, and Johnny Manziel had to be cut from the Browns before he started pulling his life together. Someone had to cut him, and it could have happened in college. Someone in college could have done that for him, and it did not happen.
At least actually suspend him and punish the kid. But no,
you're not doing him any favors when you fail to punish him.
And that's where I think we've really wavered away from the Urban Meyer thing, but
it's still related.
It's all the same.
Yeah, you can't sit here and tell me, well, this is all about the kids. If you're gonna have a guy on your staff
that's a piece of crap.
Yeah, that's like out there beating his wife. You just can't have that on your staff and then turn around and tell the kids yeah, well, I'm trying to teach you how to be a good example. Like, what do you know about being a good example?
Not a thing. Well, we'll be right back here on Nougat Radio 92.7 FM. Breakfast Blitz. Stick with you, Keon Rose. We're going to talk a little Tennessee football when we get back. We'll be right
Traffic, news, and information. Nougat Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chatter, Nougat Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
He's been arrested 55 times in 19 years. Now Gary Little is charged with aggressive panhandling, trespassing, and public intoxication. The manager for City Cafe told the Chattanoogan that he had an altercation with Little in the parking lot when he told him to get lost. The TBI nabbed 3 suspects in connection with the death of Thomas Rogers in Pikeville. His body found in the woods shortly after he was reported missing. The TBI in a press release says Nikayla Sullivan, Mercelina Leal, and Kevin Bundy were all charged in Rogers' death, all placed in the Bledsoe County Jail without bond. And Judge Pam Fleener says bookkeeper Francine Lab stole almost $2 million from an art dealer. Frank Fowler is the damaged party. Reports say Lab was able to return a series of items purchased with stolen money, including luxury cars, jewelry, handbags, and designer clothing. Val St. John for Nougat Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
David Toulis, I made the move, 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nougat Radio.
92.7. Chattanooga weather.
Becoming fair out there through your nighttime hours. A little milder overnight, lows into the upper 60s. For your weekend, looking great. Lots of sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. Highs tomorrow into the upper 80s. Lows mid and upper 60s by Sunday morning. Lots of sun near 90 Sunday. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Sorrentine 12, Chief Meteorologist, Azure 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge, but if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with?
Eric.
You're our winner.
Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nooga Radio
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Call 423-875-3600 if you're looking to expand your professional look of your business. Then consider the vast opportunities that are available when you locate your office with the Raines Group family. Remember, it's location, location, location. And the Raines Group has the location for your professional office. Check out the spaces for lease at Executive Business Park on the Lee Highway. Small or large, we will be able to suit your needs with the Raines Group. Call 423-875-3600 for the business professionals with the Raines Group.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting friends, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hicks and Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nooga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nooga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7.
Nooga Radio.
Welcome back to the last segment of this week's show. Breakfast Blitz, Nickel Few, Keon Road, Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. Well, we the last segment really diving into football culture, but I kind of want to end the show on a little bit more of a lighthearted and enjoyable topic. Well, enjoyable, I guess, for some people. I read an article on the USA Today yesterday. It was posted, I believe, from the Tennessean in Nashville. And the headline was, is Tennessee the worst program in the SEC?
And off the top of my head, I'd say no.
And I found it kind of laughable. And then I was like, I'm going to read this. I want to see what's going on. And then you read it and you're like, oh.
They have a point.
They do. And I would say a lot of it has to do with expectations versus reality. To kind of break it down, obviously they were comparing Tennessee and Vanderbilt, which is kind of funny because those two actually are not the lowest in the winning percentage in SEC games in the last 10 years. It's actually Kentucky. But Tennessee is, 12th and Vanderbilt's 13th. So,
and the expectations for Kentucky are just inherently lower.
And Vanderbilt, too, for that matter.
Yeah.
Tennessee in the last 10 years against SEC opponents. So this is since Philip Fulmer's been fired, basically. His last year plus the 9 years that we've been wandering in the desert. 26-54.
Yeah.
Philip Fulmer, let's put this into perspective. Philip Fulmer coached the University of Tennessee for 17 years. 17 years. He lost 52 ball games in 17 years. Tennessee has lost 54 SEC games, just SEC games, in the last 10.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. That feels, ugh.
Okay, and then
that's a disgusting stat.
Then obviously, Philip Fulmer won 152 games and lost 52 in his career.
Good record.
Really good. In the 10 years since, I don't know the total games that Tennessee's won, but obviously it can't be many more than 20. Oh, yeah, it has to be, right? Like, that's not right. That would be like 2 games a year. So you're talking probably another, is you can play 4 non-conference games a year. And Tennessee usually wins probably 3 of those. So 30 more wins. So you're probably talking about 56 total wins in the last 10 years.
Oh man.
So that's probably about right. Jesus. Golly. Anyway, we'll move on from that part. But Vanderbilt, in that same time span, in the last 10 years, they are 22-58 against SEC teams.
Which again, that's more of an expectation thing, that you don't expect Vanderbilt to be good at football. You do expect Tennessee to be good at football. They should be nowhere near one another in terms of SEC record at all.
So let's first off, let's break this down. So you play 8 SEC games a year. In 10 years, Tennessee's won 26, which means they are averaging 2.6 SEC wins per season.
It's painful.
Last year, they won 0. So that hurts the average.
That's going to pull the average way down, for sure.
So Tennessee was before last year, they were 26-48. So only 12 games under 500. Now they're 18. That's not right. I can't do math. 46. So 26-46. So they were 20 games under. And now they are almost 30. Now, this is where it really hurts. In the last 10 years, Tennessee is 6-4 versus Vanderbilt. 6-4.
6-4, which
that's never okay.
No, I mean, it's at least it's a winning record, but man, what a low bar to set.
Since General Neyland was hired, and his one thing that they said was, we hired you to beat Vanderbilt. That was when Vanderbilt was a powerhouse back in the 30s. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, Tennessee has not had a problem with the ugly redheaded stepchild in the state of Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Now, they have a problem. You're 6-4 in the last 10 years. The 25 years prior to that 10-year span, Tennessee was 24-1. And the one win was because Vanderbilt had Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
And a really bad Tennessee football team in 2005.
So it took a bad Tennessee team
plus
and
Jay
a guy
Cutler
who would eventually be an NFL quarterback.
And they won by like 3. Okay.
Oh,
so you look at all that, you kind of break all that down. Yeah, maybe Tennessee is the worst program right now in SEC. And that's fine. Because that means there's nowhere to go but up.
That's true.
Okay.
So there's the optimist view of it.
So clearly rock bottom happened. 0-8 in the SEC. You can't get much worse. Obviously,
this is true.
I guess you could go 0-12 and just not win any games.
But even that seems too dismal
for Tennessee.
Even Butch Jones wasn't going to go 0-12.
He tried. They tried to lose to UMass. They tried to lose to Georgia Tech.
Look, you've got enough talent. You just can't do it. It's just not actually possible.
So that being said, if you're a Tennessee fan, you have to realize I grew up watching Tennessee football, and I expected 8 to 10 to plus wins a year. That's what you expect to be good. I think as a Tennessee fan now, you have to understand where we are. We're not good. As Derek Dooley said in like a 2011 press conference, I believe, we're just not a good football team. We're not.
Yeah.
And things can change, and things can change quickly. And college football is a very short attention span. These kids don't remember. For most of them, let's see. I don't know if any of them were even alive. No, probably not really. There's probably a few kids on the roster that were alive when Tennessee won a national championship. But the freshmen,
that makes me feel old.
The freshmen aren't. The sophomores aren't. They weren't alive when Tennessee won a national championship 20 years ago. By the way, shameless plug for the University of Tennessee, September 22nd, Florida game. Tennessee will honor the 20th anniversary of the SEC champions, national champion, Tennessee Volunteers. A lot of former players will be in attendance. I'm sure T. Martin won't be there since he'll be offensive coordinating a team out west. David Cutcliffe, the offensive coordinator, probably won't be there since he's the coach at Duke. But you'll see guys like Philip Fulmer. John Chavis probably won't be there either since he's a coach still. Philip Fulmer, other players such as like Al Wilson, things like that, they'll be there. So if you're a Tennessee fan and you have a chance to go to the Tennessee-Florida game, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a great game. Probably going to be a night game too. So probably a great atmosphere for that one, especially if Tennessee can find a way to pull something out of the rear end against West Virginia in week 1 and be 3-0 against a Florida team that nobody really knows anything about. But anyway, back to this. Jeremy Pruitt has a really difficult job.
He does. And we talked earlier about expectations versus reality. Unfortunately, Kirby Smart was really good in year 1. He got even better in year 2. And I just think you want to see that turnaround happen fast. Even Mark Richt going from Georgia to Miami, that turnaround was alarmingly fast. And I just think it's difficult to do that. That's not the norm. That's not normal.
It's not. And here's the thing. I think as a Tennessee fan, I think you have to understand, expect the lumps. You have a first-time head coach. It happened to Kirby Smart. You know, that team won 8 games plus the bowl game, so they won 9 games.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that Georgia team just had more talent on it.
They did. They won 8 games, not because of Kirby's great coaching in year 1. They won 8 games because the talent was good enough. That talent on that team should have won 10. Okay? Now, Kirby learned, and he became a really good football coach. Same talent took him to a national championship game.
Right.
Okay. Now you're looking at Jeremy Pruitt. Expect the lumps this year. You're going to have a guy who's going to learn how to be a head coach. Now, I'll say this too, though. Kirby Smart did not have an athletic director that knows what it takes to win national championships. Jeremy Pruitt does. Now, that's up to Jeremy Pruitt if he wants to use that resource as much as possible, but if I'm Jeremy Pruitt, I'm using that resource as much as I can. I don't want Philip Fulmer coaching. but I want Philip Fulmer's help. I want to talk to Philip Fulmer probably weekly.
And I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do too. I mean, that's an athletic director's job too, unless you're John Curry and just don't know what you're doing. But I think Jeremy Pruitt, if you're a Tennessee fan, you can't expect this team to win 8 ball games. Can they? Sure. Anything can happen. Jeremy Pruitt could be a football savant for all we know and could have these guys ready and they could win 9 ball games. I don't know. But I think to have expectations above 6-6 for this team is unfair. And it's unfair to Jeremy Pruitt. Next year, should the expectations be higher? Yes. Should it be 8-4 or at best, or at worst next year? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Butch Jones managed to win 8 games in year 2 while having to overcome being Butch Jones. So, I mean, I think that's a fair expectation to have.
Tennessee,
That's how he's recruited.
You have the resources at Tennessee to be successful. You have the money, albeit usually misplaced and put in really bad places because of people we won't talk about. But you have the battle captain back. And there's just a different feeling up there on the hill right now. There's hope. I just hope people don't put that hope into high expectations. Not for this year.
Yeah, just you've got to manage your expectations, what's reasonable. I think you have to let Jeremy Pruitt build. The fact of the matter is he did a great job recruiting, but that talent's not going to be ready to play for him really realistically for another year. You just have to give that time and let it breathe.
Jeremy Pruitt, on the other hand, and Jeremy Pruitt said it in his press conference, his introductory press conference, nobody's expectations are going to be higher than mine. That's what he said. And, well, hell, you're the head coach. I would hope so.
Right.
Except we just had a coach who said it was okay to win moral championships and be champions of life because we have 5-star hearts.
Which is something so alarmingly stupid, even the players didn't buy it.
And when you lose a chance in a wide open SEC East to go to Atlanta, you choke it away by losing to South Carolina and Vanderbilt. So, that being said, Jeremy Pruitt has high expectations. The word around is that he's been telling boosters he expects to be 4-0 going into Georgia. Well, you're the head football coach. I expect you to be 4-0 going into game 5. If you don't expect to win every game, then I don't want you to be my head coach.
Yeah, I think there's a level of confidence you have to have. I think it's fair for you to want your head coach to have that level of confidence. And I also think that Jeremy Pruitt is the guy that's actually talented enough to make that happen. The West Virginia game is going to be tough. I'm really looking forward to that one a bunch.
It's going to be interesting to see. I think what Tennessee will have to do, and we'll break it down a lot more as we get closer, but and that day even. But what I think Tennessee's going to have to do to beat that team is they're going to have to, you can't get behind. And it's not because I think West Virginia is just ungodly good. They went 7-6 last year.
They did.
I mean, they're not great. People are talking how great they are. Whatever. I'm not buying it. I think Will Greer's great. Their defense is Swiss cheese.
And that's the reason why people think they're going to be great, is that they have a second year of Will Greer in that system. I think here's the thing with West Virginia, because they're in the Big 12. And I'm a Big 12 guy. No defense gets played in the Big 12. Nobody in that entire league plays defense. That's just the nature of that beast. But you cannot let West Virginia turn your game into a track meet. If you let them get behind you and behind your defense and score early, I don't want to say it's over, but you're going to be literally chasing them the entire game.
And I think what Tennessee's going to do, if I'm Jeremy Pruitt here, and again, we're 5 weeks away, but I'm going to say what I would do here. I'd take the ball first. We win the toss, I take the ball first. And I guarantee you, Tennessee is not the strongest and best team up front right now. But with Trey Smith healthy, he's there. And you also have Brandon Kennedy at center.
Mm-hmm.
And you have and you have Drew Richmond at the other tackle, they're good enough to be able, against that defense, to ground and pound.
And I think you're going to have to.
You turn around, you hand the ball to Ty Chandler, he goes left. You turn around, you hand the ball to Maudre London, he goes right. You turn around, you hand the ball to Jeremy Banks, he goes left. You keep all three of those guys rotating. You keep them fresh. You keep that. The best way to beat them is to keep their offense off the field. And I guarantee you're going to see a lot of I formation. You're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. Tennessee's not going to throw the ball a lot week 1 unless they get down.
Yeah, and it can happen very easily against West Virginia. They're an air raid offense. Will Grier has the green light to throw it deep on any play. Any play.
And that's fine. But I wonder if the pressure gets to, and I'm not talking like defensive pressure. I wonder if the pressure gets to this West Virginia team.
If they fall behind, absolutely.
Because this game, first off, it's going to easily be a 70-30 split in that stadium orange.
Yeah, I mean, you're close enough. And Tennessee football is just more important than West Virginia football. That's just what it is.
It is what it is. And Tennessee's already requested more tickets. West Virginia gave theirs back. So it's a home game for Tennessee in Charlotte, basically. So if you're Tennessee, this article being the worst team, you have a chance to poo-poo it right away and beat West Virginia.
I think it's a big deal if Tennessee, with Jeremy Pruitt being a new head coach, if they beat West Virginia.
If they beat West Virginia, this team can win 8 ball games. And it's because of a confidence thing. The kids will be like, okay, so this guy does know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you can keep West Virginia off the board. I mean, if you can beat them in a high-scoring game, fine. But if the game is low-scoring and you grind it out and West Virginia, Will Grier, they look terrible, that's a statement win. Because now you made them play your ball game and you beat them.
And I guarantee you that's the game plan. You want to ground it. I'm telling you, man, expect 40 carries between the backs. At least.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Like, for me personally, I like that. I
don't expect Keller Christ or Jarrett Garantano to throw it more than 20 times. Whoever the quarterback is, or if they both play.
I mean, if they throw it on a few possessions and they're clearly feeling it,
then yeah, go for it. Yeah. Throw the ball. But I know, I've watched enough of Tyson Helton and I've watched enough of Jeremy Pruitt to know what they run on offense and what they run on defense. And Jeremy Pruitt's defense is going to fly around. I'll tell you this. West Virginia, they have speed, but I think they're going to be a little surprised at how quick Tennessee's going to fly and bring hats to the ball. Jeremy Pruitt's he's the talent. The talent on the roster is not very good, but I can already tell from pictures I see of everything. These guys already look different. And Craig Fitzgerald, the crazy strength and conditioning coach, has done an outstanding job already. Strength and conditioning definitely always takes more than 1 year and 1 off season to build, but you can take big steps.
Mm-hmm. And especially if you were not.
Especially if you didn't even have a strength and conditioning program before. So I really am. I'm interested. This game is so intriguing to me, and I think it would be intriguing to me as an SEC fan, not even just as a Tennessee fan. If you're an SEC fan and you have any questions about what Jeremy Pruitt's going to be able to do, I think you're going to learn a lot in week 1. I don't think you're going to be able to take away, is this guy going to be great or not in week 1, but I think you can definitely you can learn a lot more about him watching him week 1. But I think it's going to be very fun to watch. Again, if you are a Tennessee fan and you want an opportunity to go see these guys, the guys in action before the season starts, you can go up to Knoxville, up to Neyland Stadium next Sunday, August the 5th. They're doing an open practice and a fan day. After practice, you can stick around and get autographs from Jeremy Pruitt along with players. They'll have it on the sidelines. They'll have it broken down into position groups. Jeremy Pruitt will have his own table, obviously, where he will be. You do have to get there before the game start or before the scrimmage starts to get a wristband. If you do not have a wristband, you are not allowed to get to the field after the game. Gates open at 1:30. Practice will start at 2:30. That's next Sunday, August the 5th, Neyland Stadium. If you're a Tennessee fan, be there. This will be. I know, right? I'm just giving all these shameless plugs. Thank you for joining us. It's been the Breakfast Blitz. Nick Leffew, Keon Rose, Nuga Radio 927 FM. Have a great weekend.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4